And you're watching News 9's special edition Global Lens, your top destination for all the global developments. And our top focus at this hour, tensions are rising once again between Washington and Tehran. The US Central Command says that American forces intercepted multiple Iranian missiles and drone attacks targeting regional allies in the Gulf once again. According to CENTCOM, Iran launched ballistic missiles towards Kuwait and Bahrain. Two missiles aimed at the Kuwait reportedly fell short or broke apart mid-flight. Three missiles fired toward Bahrain were intercepted by US and Bahraini air defense systems, according to the US military. The US military has also said that it has shot down three Iranian attack drones over regional waters. Following the attacks, American forces carried out what they described as self-defense strikes on Iran's Qeshm Island. The island sits in the strategically important Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most critical oil shipping routes. CENTCOM said that the strike targeted an Iranian military ground control station and confirmed that no American personnel were injured in the attack. Iran's Revolutionary Guards has claimed that they had struck the headquarters of the US Navy's 5th Fleet in Bahrain and another American airbase in the region. But the US military has strongly denied those claims. In a statement, CENTCOM said that all Iranian attacks on American forces had failed. The latest exchange comes despite a ceasefire that has been in effect between the US and Iran since April 8th. However, efforts to negotiate a more permanent agreement have stalled continuously. The situation has been further complicated by Israel's expanding military operations in Lebanon, which Tehran says could undermine the fragile ceasefire. With missiles flying, drones being intercepted, and military strikes continuing despite the ceasefire, concerns are growing that the US Iran confrontation could once again spiral into a wider regional conflict. And meanwhile, as tensions continue to escalate, an Iranian drone and missile attack has struck Kuwait's International Airport, causing injuries and forcing authorities to divert flights. The attack has caused severe damage to the airport's T1 building, the report said, citing the General Civil Aviation Authority. The US military earlier said that two Iranian missiles fired at Kuwait fell short or broke apart en route, and three missiles launched at Bahrain were intercepted by US and Bahraini forces. US Central Command added that Iran launched ballistic missiles towards regional neighbors, but all failed to hit target. US forces conducted strikes on Qeshm Island in response to attempted attacks by Iran and defeated multiple Iranian ballistic missiles and drones. I am being joined by Major General Sudhakarji, retired defense and geopolitical expert. He is also with me on the broadcast. So welcome on the show. Major General, I want to ask you that, the fragile ceasefire is only for the name's sake. We have seen the videos that are coming in from the Kuwait airport, from the Qeshm Island, the kind of strikes that are happening. Do you think that now this will also spiral into a wider regional conflict with the Gulf countries being at the center of it and being the collateral damage of the US-Iran war once again?
Good afternoon. Thank you, Nancy, for taking me for your show. And brilliant question. Well, it is anybody's guess in such kind of ongoing conflict where the peace proposals are going back and forth,
Right.
and the morning commitment or assurance is becoming a kind of a far-fetched, fragile kind of a peace talk by afternoon, then something else by evening. Anything is possible. But then let's go technically and scientifically. What are the options? Options are first one is yes, there is a possibility that it will flare up. Escalation is definitely bound to happen. And unless some degree of restraint is exercised by USA in particular. Number two, it may partially go up and partially may come down. And number three, nothing may happen. For all you know, it is just one of those triggers, and there is an outburst in emotions as also in the kinetic attack. And after the kinetic attack is over, thereafter it is going to be all quiet. But out of the three, what I personally feel we need to identify as to what is the main issue which has actually triggered this particular spiral. The issue has to be seen in the backdrop that despite the the ceasefire which is existing between Lebanon and Israel, Israel continues to hammer Lebanon. And Iran has been making this point loud and clear that Israel has to stop all kinds of its advance towards the Lebanon and stop attacking Lebanon and particularly Hezbollah. And Israel won't do it because Israel also has got its reason. It says as long as it is being attacked by Hezbollah, it will continue responding. So there is a difference in the requirement of Netanyahu or Israel for the safety and the security of the people of Israel. And there is a different requirement for the perception understanding and progressing the peace talk based on the ongoing ceasefire between Iran and USA. So this how it is going to actually reconcile is somebody's, it is a wild guess to anyone. The time will tell us. But what is of relevance is what is going on between USA and Iran. What has happened if you go through the open sources, join the dots, the start point to me in my study and research has actually thrown up that there was a tanker which was moving towards Iran. It was initially attacked by the US forces,
Right.
and that actually triggered the spiral, and the spiral led to Iran attacking American bases in the GCC countries,
Correct.
particularly Bahrain and Kuwait, and it has unleashed a huge damage and inflicted heavy devastation and decimation in Kuwait, particularly. Lots of radars and command control communication equipments have been destroyed. But there are allegations that civilians also have been targeted. But that, I think, may be an exaggeration, maybe some call by forces inimical to Iran's story and narrative. So, in return, America has fired at the Qeshm Island. Now, Qeshm Island has to be understood. Qeshm Island is part and parcel of the Strait of Hormuz. What is Strait of Hormuz? Strait of Hormuz is that kink along the coastline of Iran, which spreads over a distance of 145 to 198 kilometers. And within that strait, the Qeshm Island actually, the lay of the Island is 135 to 140 kilometers,
Right.
and that is the east-west alignment. And the north-south, the widest, narrowest point is around 35 kilometers, and widest point is 89. It is closest to the coastline of Iran at a point which is just about 2 kilometers away from the coastline. The Qeshm Island is known for tourism, and once upon a time, because of its corals, very unique kind of corals, lots of tourists, more than the people who used to travel to Tehran, they used to come to Qeshm Island. However, because of the ongoing conflict, they anticipated this. There is a very defensive layout under the island, and it goes as deep as 600 to 800 meters. They are interconnected by tunnels. They have got the IRGC Navy, they have got the coastal batteries, they have got the coastal navy also, they
Right.
have got anti-ship missiles, and with very camouflage, deflated, and I would say to large an extent, they are in such positions they can actually keep changing from main position to alternate to secondary position, thereby making the attacker, that is USA, keep guessing as to what the exact location is. More than that is the decoys have been deployed, because of which
Okay.
USA may be claiming that they have engaged the rockets, they have engaged the rocket launcher, but that, for all you know, it may be a decoy. Therefore, the given by going by the assessment made by CIA, they have gone to say that the combat residual power of Iran as on today, or by a couple of days back, it still is got so much that it can last high intensity warfare for a period of 4 months.
There were also
Many,
reports, Major General, that 90% of Iran's missile capabilities is still secure. I mean,
yeah,
Donald
I'm
Trump can
coming to that.
drag the war as long as he wants to, but it looks like that Iran is not going to back down, and with fresh strikes in every now and then, it's raising concerns for the whole world, because Strait of Hormuz, as you said, is a very critical oil route, and anything that happens there, the world is now feeling the impact.
Absolutely, Nancy. That is the central point. No matter what happens, you see,
Right.
first of all, the Strait of Hormuz was open prior to 28th of February. USA came in at the behest of Netanyahu or at the behest of Israel. Now, having come in there, they neither had any political objective nor any military objective. They said the operation would last for 4 days. Now it is past 3 months. So one doesn't know when is it going to finish. So therefore, I have coined a term. It is called an escalation entrapment. Donald Trump, without realizing where he was stepping into, has got into such an escalation entrapment. If he restrains, he's doomed. If he escalates, he gets entrapped. He gets into such a kind of entrapment that he will find it very difficult to have a dignified, honorable exit. Call it as exit with victory. There is no sign of any victory for Donald Trump worth its name. To have a graceful kind of a exit from this face-saving exit from the place, and But however, yesterday, the International Atomic Energy Agency, the chief, has given a comment which is reflective of one issue, that no matter what Donald Trump keeps on saying, they have to fall back to the format of 2015 JCPOA. That
Okay.
becomes the basic format, and there is no guarantee that he is going to get a better deal than what Obama or the Democrats had actually struck in 2015. For all you know, it may turn out to be a very unfavorable deal, but he has to make good with that kind of a deal, because it is deal between the kinetic action, deal between the conflict,
Right.
the ongoing conflict. If he gets a deal in one of these, then he will have some kind of a suitable exit. He can go home or go to Cuba, go to Greenland, wherever he wishes to. My take on the whole issue is that it is unlikely to happen. It would perhaps converge with one milestone, and that milestone is, although a lot of specialists are saying it is just a kind of a pipe dream, he has made China to commit to buy 600,000 barrels of crude oil every day from America. That's a very huge turnaround, I would say, because
Right.
till now China used to pay in yuan. And now, if that happens, it is going to be a big turning point to make China dependent on America for buying of crude oil, make payment in yuan, thereby giving America a multiple, I would say, position of advantage. Firstly, it will help to restore status quo ante of dominance of petrodollar. Number two, the dependence of China on America is going to reduce the dependence of China on Iran. From Iran, China is to buy 90% of its oil produced in Iran itself. And
Right.
third, most important thing, you would have realized that in past 3 months, 58% of dependency of European Union countries has got diverted to USA. Number one. Number two, India, earlier we used to buy our 40 to 41% of our requirement from Russia. That also has got reduced, and our dependence on America earlier used to be zero. It came up to 7. Now it is, I think, gone up to 13%, and it is notching up to touch around 18 to 20% in near future.
Right.
So by and large, the global dependency on oil for America is going to become higher and higher, thereby contribute towards a statement which was made by the Federal Reserve Governor as also chair of USA. But time to time, they keep making this statement that if USA has to remain as a superpower, sustain as a superpower,
Right.
then they have to ensure that there is a steady flow of wealth. Wealth will come from 5 different components. One is oil, one is the defense industry products. Number three is the pharmaceutical industry. Number four is the narcotics or the drug money. And number five is the rare earth element. So it is gradually happening, but these are not short term or myopic kind of objective which can be fulfilled overnight. There is a lot of domestic pressure on Donald Trump. Midterm elections around the corner. He has to finally take a call
And the
whether
cost of
the
the war
conflict
that
is going to
the
give
US
dividends.
has, I'm so
Yeah,
sorry, I'm cutting you short, but the cost of the war that Donald Trump has, the US has bearing for the longest time in this war, it's actually more than what Israel had to go through. I mean, there are a lot of factors that Donald Trump is now, I think, feels cornered. I know that attacking and prolonging this war is going to have some impact on Iran, but the real, the people who are actually paying the price are the people of America, are the people of Gulf countries as well, because they are being collateral damage
absolutely.
into this.
I compliment you for making a very, very brilliant point, and it is called as asymmetric deterrence in military parlance. What
Okay.
is asymmetric deterrence? A drone which is costing around $20,000 is being neutralized by a missile or by an interceptor costing around 12.5 to $13 million. The issue is not about the money. It is one of the central issues, but there is something bigger than the money. What is that issue? The time required to manufacture the replacements or
Right.
the products which are getting expended during the routine ongoing conflict is between 1.5 to 3 years, or it may be even more. So therefore, the production line of, let's say, Tomahawk missile, the defense industry in USA can produce only a limited number, that is 84 in a year. But if you push them too hard, they cannot speed up because the defense line productions are cut out in that manner. So therefore, the time taken to produce will also have a direct bearing whether the operation can go any further. Number two is every defense product which is produced, state of the art equipment, whether it is Tomahawk missile or it is Patriot missile or interceptor of the third, all of them require very huge quantity of rare earth element, and there are specialized magnets which are processed only by one country, that is China. So China is twisting the tail.
Right.
It is leveraging and weaponizing the supply of the rare earth element, based on which, be it F-35 or Virginia class submarine or the Tomahawk, or you talk about the Patriot missile or the third interceptors, everything is dependent on China's supply chain, and because of which there is likely to be delay, because of which this is going to become a predominant dictate. Whether the conflict can be extended or not extended, my take is, technically speaking, logically speaking, they cannot go beyond a particular timeline, and that timeline is not beyond 15th of July or maybe maximum 30th of July, by when, if China push comes to shove, if they actually align with USA, then perhaps they would be commencing the buying of oil from USA in dollar, which is also a tall order, and they would also relax supply chain of the rare earth element. That may give a little reprieve, but not beyond 15th of June, 30th of June, or maximum 15th of July. I think it's about time that USA has to take a call. The midterm elections are around the corner. He's under tremendous amount of pressure. Most probably, he's going to call a shot in a couple of days' time, finally, to decide what is the point where he should be making a sharp, abrupt turn. No matter what people say, he will call it as a kind of an exit with victory. It may be a partial victory, it may be a very low profile victory, but he will couch it in a manner to call it as a victory. From my side, it may be a fictional victory, but for Donald Trump, it will be a victory. He will go back. But is that enough? Is that going to put the Middle East in a stable situation? I don't think so. As per my assessment, in foreseeable future,
Right.
the dynamics and the geopolitics of Middle East is going to undergo change. Some countries have started showing interest towards Israel. Some countries, directly or indirectly, have started negotiating with Iran. Iran is no longer a country which is to be before 28th of February. It has emerged as a kind of a regional power. I won't say
Right.
superpower, a regional power that we have to accept no matter what we say. And therefore, the Middle East is going to be divided between the two. I don't think USA will have that sense of reliability and credibility to be welcomed by the GCC countries, where they is to provide protection to their own troops and the assets. Now
Right.
that that has been decimated by the Iranians, perhaps they will have to take a kind of a call which I have just shared with you. Back to you, Nancy.
Well, thank you.